This is Stay Paid, a sales and marketing podcast on a mission to help you close more deals and retain more business.
Welcome to another Silver Dollar episode of Stay Paid. My name is Joshua Stike.
And I'm Luke Akery.
And today we're going to talk about self-doubt and this idea of maybe having an imposter syndrome. If you're struggling with this, maybe in your own career. I know I've struggled with this.
I have struggled with that. I still
the majority of my career
struggles
up
with
until today. Yeah.
syndrome.
But you did this video on TikTok. It's gotten 3.9 million views. I don't know if that's our highest one or not, but it's got to be one of the highest, if not the highest. If you're not following us on TikTok, definitely go check that out. We are staypaid_podcast on TikTok. But yeah, you do a ton of just motivational videos. So we're trying to bring some of that motivational content here into the podcast as well. Figure, hey, if it's doing well,
it's
over
going
there,
viral, we might as well do it here. Yep.
But this whole idea of self-doubt, and you had a great example, or I guess a great way to sort of phrase up if you're having self-doubt or struggling with it. Here's how you should look at it.
Yeah, it's think about how your past self would feel, right? So I think a lot of people, they struggle with self-doubt and they don't realize that they are their own worst critic. Like, if your past self could see where you're at today, imagine how proud they would be.
Yeah.
And I think about my own life in that aspect, and I go, man, all I wanted was to be able to be, get a job. Then all I wanted was to be able to actually make over six figures. And then I think to myself today of where I'm at and all this self-doubt and, leading this big company and stuff like that, I just go, man, if that college-age kid would see where I'm at today, they would just be blown away. They wouldn't even believe it. And what kills us is we become our own worst critic. And what happens to us is because we're our own worst critic and because we, put this self-doubt on ourselves, you get into a spiral almost of paralysis. You get into a spiral of depression. And then I don't know the saying, but it's like, what you feed yourself, you get more of. And it's like when you talk to yourself that way through the lens of self-doubt, you get more self-doubt.
Yeah.
If you talk to yourself through the lens of positivity, you're going to get more positivity.
Yeah.
And people don't understand the power of the words that you say to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. It's so funny. I was listening to a TED Talk with the CEO of Atlassian.
Yeah.
Jira,
Okay.
people that make Jira, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, it's so relatable because he's talking about how they're hiring HR directors and they're like, we've never had an HR department. And now you get on this call with someone who's an expert in their field and you're interviewing them for something. But the whole point of it was like, you're already in it, right? You're experiencing the self-doubt because you're in it and you're having to do it. So that's naturally going to result in you going, oh, wait, now I don't know how to do that thing. But there's actually a cognitive bias effect, or this effect called the Dunning-Kruger Effect, which is a cognitive bias where people with a high level of competence or experience actually consider them to have a lower ability or lower knowledge. And it works in backwards where people with low ability, experience or expertise in a certain area tend to overestimate their ability or knowledge. And I remember this so much. The minute that you learn something new about something, you're on fire about it. You're the expert in the field. You're talking about it. You're sharing stuff. And then the more that you learn and read about it, the more you realize how much you don't know.
Yes.
And then you start going, oh God, I don't really know what I'm talking about because you actually have more knowledge.
Yes.
And the only way to push through that, by the way, is to continue to learn. It's to become a lifetime learner because you will go from this, all right, you're a really good, knowledgeable in this certain area to becoming an expert. You'll still feel that, but you have to continue to push yourself through and be a learner.
One thing that really, really helped me and has helped me in my whole career is that realizing that you're not the only one that doesn't know.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is chances are even the expert who knows a ton more than you, they themselves are sitting there going, I'm not sure. There's so much I don't know. And so the key to anything in execution, I believe, is just being super pragmatic. It's not trying to just think about theory, but being super pragmatic. Okay, what am I trying to actually accomplish here? And yes, this might not be technically sound. This might not be the exact way to do it. I might not be going up the mountain the fastest way, but you just actually doing it pragmatically, going, hey, look, I can't control what I can't control. I can't control what I don't see and what I don't know. All I can control is what I know. And what I know is I'm going to put one foot in front of the other and go forward. And I always give the analogy, like, you might get to the top of the mountain and look back and go, man, I took a pretty long way up this mountain. I could have just gone over here on this trail and it was a lot faster. But here's the point. You made it to the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
So many people spend their whole lives going halfway up a trail and back down, halfway up another trail and back down, because self-doubt paralyzes them, and they constantly self-doubt that, oh man, am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing? You just got to be really pragmatic. You know what you know. Keep trying to learn. Keep putting one foot in front of the other, and that's how you succeed.
I love that you said that, you're not alone in that, because what a lot of people think is they see other people, they see maybe their confidence, they see their accomplishments, and they think, oh man, they have it all together. They don't experience the same self-doubt that I do. But research has shown that everyone has that feeling, and the more that you can kind of talk with people about it, the easier that actually helps you, because you see, okay, I'm not the only one going through this. As a matter of fact, a couple examples here of people that we would look at and go, they're crazy that they're doubting themselves or that they have imposter syndrome. Maya Angelou, after writing 11 books and receiving several awards, couldn't escape the doubt that she hadn't earned the recognition she received by saying, I've run a game on everybody and I'm just waiting until they find me out. Albert Einstein described himself as an involuntary swindler, and his work did not deserve as much attention as it received. And that sounds like, oh, these are humble words coming from these very well-known, very accomplished people, but that's actually how they were feeling, because they have this imposter syndrome is a collection of feelings of inadequacy that persist despite evident success. Here's one of the greatest things that I saw that I think maybe might give you some encouragement when it comes to imposter syndrome. Research has shown that the best relationships are when each partner feels like they are out of their league, right? That their partner's out of their league, right? That they're the imposter.
Megan, do you feel that way?
That they're the imposter
I definitely
in
feel
the
that
relationship. So each partner works as hard as they can to be deserving of their situation, and they end up being the best possible partner and version of themselves.
Super
because they feel like they're the imposter.
Well, it makes sense because you're challenged.
Yeah.
You're challenged to grow, challenged to get better. I also find that you have to embrace who you are. And once you embrace who you are and what you know and what you don't know, there's a sense of authenticity that comes across to the people around you that is almost a superpower. Like when I meet people that are vulnerable, it is insanely powerful in their messaging and how they relate to people and just what they accomplish in life, because it's almost like they just don't care. Okay, so I don't know. So, my vulnerability. So, I think I'm an imposter right now. So, I think it's like there's something super powerful about embracing that, your self-doubt almost as a superpower, embracing it as like, hey, I'm just going to reveal to people that I'm doubting. I'm just going to reveal to people that, hey, this is where my mind is at and this is where I'm at. And there's always balance in life, everything in moderation, but the authenticity of that, it can be a superpower for you.
Here's some things I looked up just sort of as some action items, some takeaway for all of you when looking at how to overcome self-doubt. Some of these we touched on. Realize you're not alone. Everyone has doubts. Stop worrying about what other people think. That's one of the hardest things, I think, for a lot of us to do, but it's really, really important, because all you're doing is you're imposing your perception of what other people think of you, which isn't probably what they think of you, and you're actually holding yourself back. Never compare yourself to others, to accomplishments of others. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't look at people and say, I want to aspire to have what they have or to be where they're at, but don't compare yourself in the negative.
Yeah, comparison is the disease. It's the thief that steals joy.
Yeah. Focus more on that aspiration. Celebrate the small wins. Cut yourself a break. Give yourself a pat on the back for those small wins, and then push yourself to that next win. Focus on what went right instead of always focusing on what went wrong. The more you push yourself, the more you will realize your capability. And then probably one of the biggest ones, surround yourself with the right people. Surround yourself with people
that will lift you up.
And then ask for feedback regularly, because a lot of times that self-doubt is coming from, am I doing a good job? Do I actually, am I performing well? Ask for feedback, and a lot of times that'll be squashed.
I love the one focus on the small wins. Ed Milet's said this, and it changed the game, which is really, how do you build confidence? By keeping the promises that you made to yourself. So when you focus on the small wins, it's like, hey, I'm going to get up early. You actually get up early.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to eat healthy. You actually eat healthy. Hey, I'm going to show up on time. You actually show up on time. Super small wins. But when you say something to yourself and you actually do it, you build confidence in yourself, and you realize, hey, I can complete what I say I'm going to do. Think about the opposite of that. You say you're going to do something you don't. Now you feel not only discouraged because you didn't complete that task, but you have a lack of integrity with yourself, and it influences you on your next task to go, I'm a failure. I'm not going to be able to do this. You have all this self-doubt and self-talk that's going on because you didn't keep the promise to yourself.
Yeah. So there you go. Thank you so much for listening. You can head on over to staypaidpodcast.com for the show notes and the video of this episode. And if you enjoyed this episode and want to show your support, head on over to remindermedia.com/shop for some Stay Paid merch. The best way to show your support is to tell a friend, share this episode on your social media. Luke, I forgot to do a dad joke, I think, the last couple episodes. So they're back. What is Beethoven's favorite fruit? A banana.
I thought you were giving options at first, like A, B, but that was good.
A, B. All right, if you want to get a hold of me or Luke, you can email us at podcast@remindermedia.com. And of course, you can find us on social. We are at Stay Paid Podcast. For this episode of Stay Paid, I'm Joshua Stike.
Guys, I'm Luke Acree. Realize everybody has self-doubt. Everybody has imposter syndrome. You're not alone. The only way to overcome it is to keep moving forward, putting one foot in front of the other. My challenge to you, an action item for you is, have you written down some wins that you have accomplished? And if you haven't, set some goals for yourself over the next week and complete those promises, complete those goals, and watch how your self-confidence starts to grow. Remember, the difference between top producers and mediocre producers in every business is top producers take action. Take action on that today.